This episode of The Young Turks is brought to you by Thrillist.
Now, there's this group that has been doing these anti-abortion billboard campaigns. They're a group called Life Always. And they'd done one in New York, and they had this young African-American girl, and it said underneath, the most dangerous place for an African-American is in the womb. And they were referring to the higher rate per capita of abortions in African-Americans than whites. Now, there was a number of problems with that billboard. First of all, that girl had no idea she was posing for that billboard. It was a stock photo from a modeling agency, and she didn't sign up to be part of that campaign, which was egregious. Second of all, it seemed to stigmatize African-Americans and basically blame them for getting more abortions. Of course, it was also over the top, etc. There was a lot of complaints about it, and eventually the company who actually owns the billboard said that they will not be accepting that advertising anymore, and they took it down. Well, they've got a new set of billboards now in Chicago, the same group, Life Always, and it's got President Obama's picture on it, and it says, every 21 minutes, our next possible leader is aborted. And then they say, these are babies who could grow to be future presidents of the United States or the next Oprah Winfrey, Denzel Washington, or Maya Angelou. Now, they're targeting African Americans again. And so people are outraged by this. It's got the president's thing, talking about abortion, et cetera, et cetera. I have a different take on this. I think this is perfectly acceptable. And I don't think the billboard company should take it down. I think they should accept their money, and I think they should keep it. It's one thing to disagree with it. It's another thing to say it is outside of the bounds of political discourse. I don't think this is outside the bounds at all. Look, they believe in being pro-life or anti-choice or whatever names you want to give it, right? But that is their genuine belief, and it is their belief that if African Americans are getting more abortions, that is a problem, and that they are going to try to solve that problem. Now, the way they do it is counterproductive to us, and we don't think it makes sense. Here, I'll give you what I mean by that. This is because, don't get me wrong, I don't agree with them at all, right? So, for example, they want to cut funding to things like Planned Parenthood. But one of the reasons that the rates for abortion is higher in the African American community is because they don't have access to birth control pills. Because of socioeconomic conditions, a lot of people can't afford those pills. What Planned Parenthood does is it provides it for people who cannot afford it. So actually, if you give more money to Planned Parenthood, there would be less abortions. But that's too hard for the conservative mind to understand. So they're like, no, Planned Parenthood does some abortions, we must attack it, right? So I got it, right? So obviously I think they're wrong, right? But it is their, as far as we can tell, their genuine political opinion. It's not driven by some oil companies or some reason to make a profit in other ways, etc. And it's a valid opinion to have. And look, if you think about it from their perspective, they're against all abortions. And Barack Obama's mother was single at the time. You know, it was a tenuous relationship. Obviously, the father went back to Kenya at some point. It was, many, many decades ago, and it was a biracial kid. Is it possible that they would have considered that option? I think it is possible, especially at that time and day, right? Now, luckily they didn't. I believe President Obama's mom had a choice. I want her to have a choice, and I love the choice that she made, right? But for somebody to point that out as, hey, you know what? Maybe the next person you're aborting could be this, that, or the other thing, I don't think it's an unfair point. And look, you have to remember, if you take down their billboards now, they have a much better argument to take your billboards down later. And I remember during the Iraq War, etc., on many issues that were perfectly legitimate questions, liberal billboards would be taken down, and Clear Channel and other companies, billboard companies, wouldn't put them up because they said, no, we disagree with that. Well, that's crazy. No, if I'm buying with my own money and it's part of political discourse, I should be allowed to put up that billboard, whether I agree or disagree. So I think this billboard in Chicago is fine in that respect. Although I disagree with it, I think it's something that is within the political discourse and should be allowed. So in that sense, I hope they don't take it down. Now, do I hope that group runs out of money and stops with misleading campaigns? Yes, but that's a different issue.
Thrillist gives you great suggestions for where to go when you're looking to have a little fun.
Best new bars, restaurants, events, services, anything that you're looking for, Thrillist has it. You sign up through Thrillist.com/TYT.
Go to Thrillist because it's the illest.
Think about it. That was good. That was good. That was good. You are the world's largest dork.